What's up, YouTube? It's the Action Figure Grader coming back to you with some mint on card vintage Star Wars sales, as well as a couple of qualified grade type of vehicles. Really interesting sales. Everything from early 12 backs all the way to some last 17. And there were a couple of really good deals on here, especially on a mint on card Boba Fett that I did not see, that sold for a song and a dance based on what I saw. So let's go ahead and dig right into the data. The first one is a 12-back B Sand People Tusken Raider. This has got the light brown paint to the bandolier as well as the mouthpiece on his neck and the gloves. There's a dark brown paint that usually appears on later card backs, but you can very clearly see that's the very light brown color to those paint applications. But card had a little bit of wave. It was punched with a price sticker. Probably like a 75 grade would be my guess. It might straighten out to an 80. I don't know. It's hard to get these vintage cards to straighten out, even in a star case, is what I've found. But sometimes it'll happen. I put books on them very carefully before, and it's really straightened them out. But you got to be really careful that you don't cause more veins or cause the blister to kind of peel up off the card. But it might get an 80. I don't know. That one sold for $10.99 plus $12 shipping. So that's a pretty good amount of money for an ungraded 12-back B. We've certainly seen some sell for less than that, even graded. And the blister was crystal clear. It was in really great shape overall. And it's a gorgeous item. It's a gorgeous item. I don't know if I would have paid $1,100 for it, but it's certainly a very desirable one. Next up is a 21-back R2-D2. This one did have a price sticker as well as a little bit of damage above the hang tab, as you can see. To the right of the hang tab, there's some minor spider veins, things like that. But beautiful crystal clear blister. It did have a ding on the top of it. That one sold for $900 plus $20 shipping. I mean, anything R2-D2 is going to command some pretty decent coin. It just seems like the Focus collectors have really bid up any kind of mint on card R2-D2. I would like next year, in terms of goals, I would like to get an R2-D2 or a sensor scope R2-D2, either maybe like a Palatoy Tri-Logo, which we do have coming at the end of this video, or maybe an Empire Strikes Back sensor scope, something like that. I think that would be a nice addition to the collection next year. Next up, this was a really good deal. I was looking at this one. This is a 21-back free secret Star Wars action figure offer transition card Walrus Band. It's a pretty common one, in terms of these 21-back ESB cards. This is one of the more common ones. You do see this one pop up quite a bit. It was graded AFA 80, beautiful crystal clear blister, and obviously that secret Star Wars action figure was for the Bosk mail away. The sub-scores were 80, 85, 85. So very high grade, beautiful example. A little bit of spider veining on the card and above the hang tab. It was listed for 480 pounds, which is $586. That's not a terrible price, really. I mean, I think that's a pretty decent price as is. The problem is the global shipping was another $85 here to the U.S. But it did sell. Best offer that was accepted was 450 pounds. So let's call that about $525 US dollars plus shipping. Now, if I had been in the UK, that would have been really attractive because the shipping cost would probably be about a third of that. But very, very attractive Walrus Man on a transition card. That's not a terrible price at all. This is one that one of my subscribers asked about, and I apologize, I don't remember who it was, but this was an AFA 80 31-back B Luke Bespin walking photo. Gorgeous example. Photos were not the greatest, but it was 80, 85, 85 were the sub scores. This was down in Australia, and somebody reached out and said, "Hey, what do you think this is going to sell for?" I said it was going to sell for 2,300 Australian dollars. And I was way off, of course. It sold for $2,750, which is about $1,850 US dollars plus shipping. So I think that, I said in June that I think prices will be coming down. And I think for common items they have. It seems like the tougher to find or the very popular characters like Luke Bespin or some of these 12 and 21 backs that we've talked about, I mean, they continue to command big money, and it's pretty surprising given the economic environment that we continue to see these really massive prices. This is certainly a big price, but it is what it is. That's there's certain cards and certain characters like Luke Farm Boys, Luke Bespins that continue to command big money. It was an unpunched example, gorgeous, beautiful example. But that is a lot of money, $1,850 US dollars. Next up, another idea for those of you that maybe are on a tighter budget is to look at cut pops, proof of purchase cards like this one where the proof of purchase has been removed. I know that Chris over at Rogue 5 Toys has been selling a lot of those over, on Facebook, but this is another good option if you want to collect mint on cards. You don't have the pocketbook for maybe some really, really high grade items, but you do want to collect them. There are proof of purchase removed card backs for what can be very expensive cards that are worth a look. And this is the 31 back ESB Hoth Rebel Soldier. This is the debut card, I believe. And this one sold for under $200. Now, it had the proof of purchase removed, but still, this is a beautiful item, otherwise in an amazing condition, certainly displays great, and would make a nice addition to somebody's collection if you're willing to live with the shaved proof of purchase. And in general, it seems like when the proof of purchase is shaved off, it cuts off quite a bit of value. It cuts off anywhere from 50 to 75% of the market price. I mean, I would say for this one, if it had not had the proof of purchase removed, it would probably easily have sold for $600 to $800 pretty easily. I mean, high grade examples can go for almost $1,000 for this debut card. So to get it for under $200 is a pretty good buy. Likewise, here was a Yoda unpunched card, clear blister, great shape overall. It just had that proof of purchase removed, and the price reflected that, $310. I mean, that's easily half of what this item could sell for if the proof of purchase had not been removed. So anyway, just an idea for those of you that are maybe on a tighter budget. If you're, I mean, look, I know it's still $300. That's a lot of money, but if you do want to collect mint on cards, it at least gives you another option that would display great. I mean, if you put this in a sliding acrylic case and just faced it forward on a shelf, no one's going to know that you got a shaved pop on there, and it would just display fantastic. So just another idea for those of you that are looking to cut your costs down a little bit. This was a beautiful 41 back Ugnaught clear blister, great condition. I mean, beautiful, unpunched, really clean, probably like an 85 or an 80 plus grade pretty easily. It was listed for 385 euros, and the sales price was 350 euros. And that's about, more or less about 365 US dollars. That's a pretty good price for a beautiful, unpunched, clear blister, 80 to 85 condition Ugnaught. That's a really good buy. Next up, I had a couple of Dengars that sold. This one was a yellow blister, 41 back. I think this is the 41 back E that I've got in my collection. Pretty decent shape overall. I mean, pretty good. It just had a spider vein right there on the front of the card, as you can see. So that holds the condition down, probably to about a 70 or 70 plus, maybe 75 if you're lucky. But that's still sold for $270. That's a pretty decent deal in the current market environment. Likewise, here was a beautiful clear blister 41A survival kit offer Dengar, unpunched with price sticker, but in really fantastic condition. The only negative was the creasing on the bottom on the back of the card there. But, that sold for under $250. It was listed for $250. It sold for $215 for a clear blister. And again, it's not perfect. It's got these veins on the card and things like that, probably like a 75 grade. But beautiful crystal clear blister. Blister was in fantastic condition. And Dengar's a pretty tough one to find in really clean condition. It's just one of those peg warmers from back in the day that just did not hold up very well. The blister is a lot wider than the average character because of his backpack. So these cards just got really bent up and beat up, and it's tough to find high-grade examples for Dengar. But to get that for $215 was a steal of a deal, in my opinion. Next up was an AT-AT Commander on the 45 back, crystal clear blister, unpunched with a price sticker. This is the most common AT-AT Commander on the 45 back. Really easy to find this one, and the price reflected that. But it was in fantastic shape. It sold for $250, free shipping. So, I mean, there are deals out there on very common and easy to find items. It's just when you start getting into those best bin looking photos in high grade, are you going to start seeing the crazy prices? But, take advantage of these of the current market condition on common items if you're okay with those. Me personally, I would love to have this in my collection. I think it would be a fantastic addition, and to get it for $250 is an absolute bargain. So congratulations who got that. And now let's talk about this 48 back B Revenge of the Jedi Yoda. I showed this in my what to buy video. Beautiful example, unpunched, no price sticker, crystal clear blister, probably like a high 80 or 80 plus grade condition. And I said in the video that it would probably sell for $750. Well, how wrong was I? It sold for $919 plus $11.25 shipping. So I was way off. And, it's not easy to find this particular card back for Yoda. the 32 back, debut card, you can find that everywhere because there's so many of them that were made. But it's really tough to find this one, especially in a clear blister. So congratulations, whoever got that. I would love to have that one in my collection one day. But $919 took that home. Next up was an AFA 85 Revenge of the Jedi 48 back with Han Solo, but it was a yellow blister. And I could not believe this sales price. This is, in my opinion, no offense if you happen to be the person that bought it, but in my opinion, this is a drastic overpay. It sold for $1,300. I think you could find this exact item in an AFA 85 with a clear blister for less than this in an auction. I just think that that's way too much money for a yellow blister Han Solo, but that's what somebody paid for it, and I'm not, again, I'm not disparaging anybody. If you got the money, go for it, but in my opinion, you could probably get this one in a clear blister, same grade, if you're patient, either at Hakes or elsewhere, and get it for less than $1,300. I might be wrong, though. I might be wrong. High grade equals big money, and that seems to be the case. I had those two vehicles now. These were at auction. This was the battle-damaged Imperial TIE Fighter on the Return of the Jedi box. This is qualified grade, meaning that it's unused contents, unused stickers, so you could submit it to AFA or one of the grading companies for qualified grading because it's no longer mint and sealed box. But I wanted to show it in this video because you don't see the battle-damaged Return of the Jedi TIE Fighter come up often for sale. It just was not produced in big numbers from what I could tell. It sold down in Australia for $660 Australian dollars, or about 443 US dollars. I think that's a great buy. That's a really, really good buy for a beautiful example. And then likewise was this La Guerre des Étoiles, Le Retour du Jedi. And this is the X-Wing fighter. This was made in France. This is a French Meccano example. And, the stickers were not in great shape, kind of curling, but still on the sticker sheet. It also included the instructions and everything. So unused contents, but not in the best condition. But it is a French Meccano example, and tough to find these. This one sold for 890 Australian dollars, or about 600 US. I think, again, that's a good buy for a beautiful example. There's something about La Guerre des Étoiles on the packaging for these vintage Star Wars items that just really pop, and it's absolutely gorgeous. So congratulations who bought that. Next up was another surprising price. This was an AFA 85 Darth Vader 65 back A clear blister. Archival case, as good as it gets, although it was punched. 85, 90, 90 were the subscores on this one. Now, it's a later Return of the Jedi card back. It's a 65 back A. It was listed for $1,600. The best offer that was accepted was $1,200. So, again, it seems to not matter what it is, but if it's got a clear blister and if it's an AFA 85, no matter what the character, you're going to be paying big money for it. So that one did sell for $1,200 US dollars plus shipping. That's a big number. Likewise, here was the Jawa on the 65 back C with the Emperor mail-away offer. AFA 85 archival case. That one was listed for $1,100 and it sold for $850. So $850 was the sales price on that one. I would have guessed closer to $650. I've seen a number of examples, AFA 85, for this exact card. This is a really easy one to find. The Jawa on the Emperor 65 back C is a very, very common, highly produced item. And for some reason, these Jawas always stay clear blister. I've seen probably 10 of these that have sold in high grade over the last year. But $850 seems a little high to me. But, again, if I had the money, I would have no trouble at all paying that because that is a gorgeous example. Next up, this was probably the steal from all of these items. Somebody listed a 77 back mint on card Boba Fett, and it was listed for $1,000, and it looked to be in impeccable condition. Now, I'm assuming that this is not repro. It doesn't look repro, but this is the Taiwan Fett on a 77 back, mint on card. Again, it's possible. It is possible that it's a recard, but it looks like maybe there's some peeling going on right here. This side is a little concerning. It looks like it potentially could be coming away from the card back. So all of those are red flags, okay? But assuming that this is truly a mint on card that has not been doctored, to get that for $1,000 was a steal. It's probably worth triple that, assuming it's still mint on card. Lots of good angles in the photos. Right here it looks fantastic, but I don't know. It had a little bit of issues right here, so it looks like it maybe could have some ink touch up on the card. Somebody had put some marker on it, so that's probably what's going on here. It wasn't disclosed as such, I don't believe, in the description. It just says packaging in great shape. So right here, potentially somebody could have used a marker to touch up the card, which would prevent it from being graded. But even still, let's assume that it's still mint on card and it does have ink touch up, which I'm leaning towards it does. If that's the case, I still think it's a pretty good buy, because you could preserve grade it or just leave it as is, and you're still getting it for 30% of market value. So who knows, but it does look ink touched up on that one corner, but maybe I'm wrong. It looks like somebody had taken some marker to it. But still, again, it's a mint on card Taiwan Boba Fett on a 77 back with a blister that's only lightly yellowed. And this is another example of displayability. This thing would display really, really well inside a sledding acrylic case. And you don't even need to grade something like this. You just have it on display. It's beautiful. Next up was an AFA 85 yellowed blister, Power of the Force, unpunched A-Wing pilot. Last 17, pretty great condition overall, obviously with the 85 grade. That one sold for $692 plus $15 shipping in an auction. That closed on December 14th with 38 bids. I thought that was a great price. A-Wing pilots are tough to find this clean, and that displays really nicely, high grade. It's got everything going for it, and to get it for sub $700 in that condition, I think was a good price. Next up was an AFA 80 Ewok Combat Glider, mint in sealed box and graded as such. Beautiful example. This sold at auction for $400 US on 42 bids. Lots of action on that one. That one sold on December 14th as well, but a gorgeous example of the Ewok Combat Glider. And then finally, I had a Palitoy Tri-Logo R2-D2. This is one I'd like to pick up. It looked 100% legitimate. I didn't see anything that really stuck out as maybe repro or anything. It looks great, unpunched, beautiful card. It had one little ding in the lower right-hand corner near the Made in Hong Kong, but the blister was in fantastic condition. It's that etched edge blister. And that sensor scope R2-D2 was in great shape, probably an overall 80. And that sold for $405. That's very doable with some financial discipline from me. So this is one I'd like to pick up, I think, next year if I can find a nice example. So anyway, that's all I really had for this video. Just some mint on card and packaged vehicle sales as we close out the year. I hope everyone's having a great day, and I'll talk to you soon.